From the campus of Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey, Channel 5 Sports presents college football. From John Page Field, it's the TCNJ Lions visiting the number 17 Rowan University Props. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. A humid, hot evening here at Rowan University. And two teams that also boast hot records, 3-1 overall for each team, each undefeated in the NJAC, an important game for each and typically quite the rivalry.
Yeah, this game was a 14-6 ball game last year, decided in favor of Rowan over TCNJ. These teams have a history against each other. Should be an outstanding game.
Short kick, and TCNJ will take it just inside their 20-yard line and bring it down to about the 35, where they will start first down and 10. They will start with very good field position and a young quarterback in Chris James, who's just a sophomore. He's someone that they will look to utilize to not make mistakes. They love to keep the ball on the ground. Two similar offenses.
That is not Chris James, but it is Andrew Yezzi, who is the Delsey graduate, a key component in the middle of that Rowan defense, middle linebacker.
First down and 10 with James out of the shotgun, and he will hand it off. Pickup of about 7. Now, this is going to be a game that will boast two excellent teams via the ground, but also two excellent teams in terms of their defensive stature. Rowan leads the conference in rushing with 193 yards per game, and also in defense at 51.2 yards allowed, 19 sacks, and has second in scoring defense at 13.5 points, second only to these Lions. Second down again out of the shotgun and right up the gut. Not a whole lot there, maybe 1 yard.
You have to give a lot of credit to some of the guys who have stepped in with a couple of graduates, a couple of guys who did not come out for the team this year. Yezzi steps into that linebacking position for Zach Guerin, a Paulsboro graduate who last year led in this game with 9 tackles. He led the props and tackles last year, so some missing elements to that Rowan defense, and there's been a lot of guys who've stepped up their play. We'll talk about them as the game goes on.
Yezzi hustles off the field with a short third down, and James play action out of the shotgun, throws it up, lofting, not a whole lot on that ball, and that will be very close to a first down. It looks like he may have gotten it.
It looks like he did get it. That's just finding the sticks and being able to pick up the first down, move the chains. They want to make sure that Chris James is in a position where you don't want to have him make mistakes. Now, he is a young quarterback, as you said, Rob. Rowan sometimes can confuse young quarterbacks and create a lot of turnovers. That's why you see a lot of lopsided scores from the props. And what you want to do is just simplify the offense, get the running game going if you're TCNJ tonight.
Here comes the sticks, first measurement tonight. We mentioned before that TCNJ, a team that also boasts excellent defense, they are second in rushing offense as well. So two teams that love to keep the ball on the ground and minimize the number of mistakes that their young quarterbacks can make. A first down for James and the Lions.
Here you see Eric Hamilton. In 1977, he was named the head coach at the college. He was 23 years old at that time. He's amassed a terrific record, 182 wins, 116 losses, 6 ties, a no-nonsense coach. Produced 20 All-American football players. And this is a guy who graduated from Trenton State. And, you get a lot of continuity, you get a lot of familiarity when you have a coach that's been there for such a long time. It makes transition from year to year when you lose players so much easier.
First and 10, and it's going to be James. They had the option set up, but James decided to tuck it underneath, and he was brought down almost immediately as the College of New Jersey sending Lee Jones in motion, and James kept.
It looked like Chris Pinto, and he had a terrific game against TCNJ last year with 8 tackles in the game. You see number 40 closing in on the play, and he does a nice job of getting the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage. You bring up a long now, second down, looks like about 14, 15 yards. And that really limits what TCNJ wants to do with that young quarterback behind center.
2nd and 14. James again, quick drop, and it's going to be a quarterback draw again. Good pressure by that Rowan defense. And a long 3rd down for James, and as you mentioned, Shawn, they do not want to have James in long 3rd down situations. His arm strength is not necessarily his strong point. And of course, his decision making still a process.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for him. He's able to get the ball out, Rob, but I mean, you just don't want to see too many of these during the night because Rowan's going to feast on that line and get back to the quarterback and really put a lot of pressure on him if he's in a situation. Expect the blitz on this play.
Here comes the blitz. James running against his throwing hand, forced to the outside, has some room, and cuts it out of bounds. But he will be shy of the 1st down, about 2 yards shy. We'll see if that will bring on the Lions kicking team or whether we'll see a roll of the dice early.
See, that's a young quarterback stepping out of bounds, Rob, and I'm not too sure if he would have cut the ball back into the field of play. He might have picked up the 1st down if he would have been able to dive for it. That's a young quarterback just preserving his body, stepping out of bounds, just trying to shoot for the outside. And again, young guys make that mistake. Not even though we talk about that every week in high school, but also it occurs in college as well. Game's a lot faster. You know, you have to make quicker decisions. And that time he steps out of bounds before he picks up the 1st down. Now you have to punt.
Go down to the official.
Illegal substitution on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Illegal substitution sets the line back by
4th down now, and Bellamy and Mears. Mears, the product from Paulsboro. Rugby-style kick that has come into vogue. Bounces at the 20-yard line and will bounce back and down at the 18. So Rowan will take control of the football for the first time this evening. And a great story for these Rowan Profs as Tim Haggerty will be underneath center. Haggerty has really turned the fortunes of this team around. Rowan started off the season with a little bit of a rocky start. The senior Joe Rankin, the Toms River product, struggled a bit, and Haggerty has really turned the fortunes around. Jay Accorsi, the head coach of this Rowan University team, could not say enough good things about Haggerty. Give you an idea, he said if Haggerty was 6 foot, he'd be at Villanova, and if he was 6'2", he'd be at Rutgers. But we are very pleased to have him. And now Haggerty is brought down immediately. We talked about the excellent defense of this TCNJ football team, and Haggerty sacked on the very first play.
Yeah, TCNJ has always done a very nice job against Rowan's passing game. One that always really confuses a lot of teams, especially in the NJAC. Rowan piles up a lot of numbers within the conference, but TCNJ in Hamilton really knows how to defend this complex passing game.
No huddle offense, and a quick spurt there, tripped up on the play as Haggerty hands off to his superback, Rob Richardson, who had a tremendous week last week, the NJAC Player of the Week, over 170 yards rushing, and really keyed their victory.
Yeah, 23 carries, 175 yards, a 36-yard scamper for a touchdown. Yeah, the team finished with 309 total yards on the ground.
Haggerty has a man, and just the timing there a little bit off as the throw seemed to be there, but a bit of a misread by his wide receiver, and that will turn the ball over on downs as Mark Lisa zigged instead of zagged.
Another good first series for the Rowan Props. A big night for Tim Haggerty, knowing coming up against a rival as a freshman quarterback, just playing across the street at Glassboro High last year at this time.
Smith, the punter, a great story. He's someone that, of course, he's really welcome back with open arms, has a big leg, and there you see it. Punt taken at the 44-yard line and tripped up. Pickup of about 2 yards on the return. But Smith, as I mentioned, a great story for this Rowan team. He was someone that punted here for the Profs as a freshman. And Andrew Smith decided that he wanted to go out and work for a little while. Took a job at Great Adventure and actually worked on Con, the roller coaster there. He's a member of the Steelworkers Union, probably raked in some big bucks. Decided, you know what, I want to be the guy making the decisions inside, not outside. And now he's back at Rowan University, and no one could be more pleased than head coach Jerry Corsi. First down and 10 for James, again working out of the shotgun. Excellent field position at the Rowan 46-yard line. Got a handoff there and just not much doing as the Rowan defense has been tough.
I was trying to come up with a joke with 6 flags in football. I just couldn't do it. I'm going to give up. I thought for a long time.
That was your high school report card, wasn't it?
6 flags?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. As a matter of fact,
7
it was very
I forgot about the class that you had to repeat from your junior year.
Yeah, there was one. As you know.
Second down. Again, James will continue to work out of that spread. 2 receivers set on both the left and the right side.
He likes science anyway.
Hit immediately, absolutely nothing there, and the surge on that defensive line by Rowan really blowing back this Lions offensive line. The Rowan University Profs were chosen by the NJAC coaches in the preseason poll to be the #1 team. Conversely, TCNJ off to a good start, but somewhat surprisingly, as they were chosen to be 7th out of 18.
Yeah, it's a mistake. You don't. TCNJ, I don't care who they lose and what they have coming back. Coach Hamilton usually has this team playing well at the beginning of the year, and you just got to say 7th. I don't know if I'd ever put them 7th to begin the season.
James again rolling against his throwing arm, throws and almost picked off. And again, that's exactly the type of thing that Hamilton and the offense trying to avoid as a good opportunity for Cordell High, which was exactly where the ball was thrown.
Get a chance to pick that one off. You gotta make those plays in a rivalry game where you expect it to be close. Usually the team that has the most turnovers is going to lose the game. You certainly have a chance to pick a ball off. You want to corral it, run it the other way.
Struble will punt it away for the Lions to Mears and Bellamy. This will go towards Mears. They will angle towards the sideline, and not very much on this punt. That will not please the TCNJ coaching staff, as this will be down at about the 32-yard line. So from the exchange of punts, about a 20-yard difference.
Kind of muggy here tonight. Looks like almost hazy.
This almost feels like when we're doing the Adam Talaferro game from here.
Yeah.
That type of evening.
Yeah, great. Thank God the Rowan, Sheila Stevenson and the group, they always feed us drinks and everything up here. Not drinks, but water. Sodas.
That would explain a few things, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I always wonder, why do you guys get a little goofy around the third quarter?
Richardson, the ball carrier.
Because we're slugging stolies up here. Good. One of the things, Robin, I want to quickly point this out. You talk about the ground game with Rowan. I'll get to that right after this play.
Richardson cuts inside, finds a small seam, and he'll barrel through for the first down of the evening.
So
the Profs.
We've been talking a lot about Hamilton, but I'll tell you what, I think the best coach in this conference is Jay Corsi, and what he's done this season really tells what he's about. And this is a guy who has a passing offense, with that spread. They try to really go up top. They had Mike Oriole. Nowhere to run this time for Haggerty, and he's going to be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
And what you saw right there from Haggerty, if I could just interject here, Shawn, is that's the type of hard-nosed plays that you'll see from Haggerty. Does not want to go down, and he's going to earn a tackle on him.
I just love Haggerty. I mean, we had a chance to really see his entire career at Glassboro High, and a lot of people always talked about how tall this kid was, it doesn't matter.
Richardson into the secondary, another first down. The second first down of the evening and second of this drive. Rowan across midfield for the first time tonight.
And when people question his size and stuff, I just said this guy's a football player. He can throw the ball downfield, and he's got a good arm. Don't let him fool him. He doesn't have a super arm like Oriole might have had, but this guy can get it downfield and make correct decisions at that quarterback spot.
Richardson time stopped after a pickup of about 2, and Richardson's a guy who has really come on of late. Spent a lot of time in the weight room. Ulysses Encarnacion was kind of the go-to guy. Richardson part of that recruiting class, and he has really stepped up.
Along with Jonathan Downs, he's got 5.5 yards per carry. Richardson coming into the game 4.9 for Downs. I mean, that's a terrific average for two of your top backs.
Haggerty rolls, has a man, and hooks up for the big first down as he finds Adam Preciado.
That's what Haggerty does. I mean, this guy's got the ability to really throw well on the run. Once he rolls out of that pocket, and this is something he's been doing for 4 years across the street at Glassboro, and it's just making sure that he gets the ball out, puts it on the numbers. He's very effective downfield because he's a precision passer. He's going to put the ball in the number.
Again, Richardson with a big hole, and right now, Rowan just owning the trenches.
Yeah, that's something again, getting back to Accorsi and what he's done. And this is a guy that loved to throw the ball downfield with Oriole. This year, you're coming into the season, everyone ranks you number 1. You lose a couple of players in the offseason and then before the season starts, and you say, what are we going to do here? We have Rankin, and we're not really excited about what he's done so far in the early season. We have a freshman we'd like to come in. What's he do? He tries to run the ball more. He changes his way of thinking toward the game, his philosophy of the game, his play calling toward the game, because of his personnel. And I think that's the mark of a terrific coach, is when you can create a better game in the play calling and game plans to your personnel.
Well, they lost the opener to Christopher Newport away. He said, we realized we were just a little bit too conservative, and we need to throw the ball down field and spread out that defense. Just too many linebackers and safeties cheating on our conservative play, and even if we don't complete, it gives us an opportunity to kind of flex our muscles in the running game, and ever since then, they have done a great job, and really, in large part, the success of their season can be credited to Tim Haggerty ever since he came in versus Wilkes. Hit immediately in the backfield.
Not much going on there as Nick Steffner, the inside linebacker for TCNJ, comes in, sniffs that play out, and it goes nowhere. So number 10 coming in on the play, knifing through, putting him in a long second down.
Jonathan Downs, the ball carrier, with the loss. Now Haggerty again out of the shotgun. Haggerty getting some pressure, throws it up into the end zone, jump ball, and no one will come down with this one. He threw it in a spot where, frankly, no one could get to it. So
it's a smart move, Rob. I mean, it's a good throw. These are the little things that maybe most of the average people sitting in the stands don't see, but that's a heck of a throw right there from Haggerty. What he allows Billy McGill is, if he's going to come down with this ball, he's going to make an outstanding catch, and you want your wide receiver to get a chance at 6'2", 190 to maybe pull it down to the back of the end zone. But one of the things that is not going to happen on that play is an interception. He's going to throw it deep enough where that's not going to be underthrown, and you take yourself out of at least field goal position.
Haggerty again sacked, but he does work his way towards the middle of the field. That'll give Dan Roberts an opportunity to come on. Again, another strength of this Rowan team, and Jay Accorsi says this may be the strongest part of our team, the special teams.
Yeah, two good special teams tonight that you're going to see. Matt DeLessi of TCNJ was actually named Special Teams Player of the Week last week, going 4 for 4. And you have a terrific special teams unit for Rowan.
Well, Roberts 5 for 8 in field goal attempts on the season. He'll try to make it 6 for 9. This will be just inside the 25-yard line, and now a penalty flag. Looks like that may back up these Profs 5 yards further.
Prior to the snap, False start. Number 49 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Justin Hines, the guilty party. And it's now a 39-yard attempt for Roberts.
Got plenty of leg to drill this one through.
2 for 4 from inside the 40-yard line. And that kick is up, and the kick is no good as it misses left. As you mentioned, plenty of legs, but missing left.
It's a little disheartening for Rowan when you come away with no points after getting a nice drive. But again, I just think the confidence there, you're able to maintain it because Haggerty doesn't throw the interception down trying to force the ball in. And I just think as a freshman, Rob, that's where you see a lot of freshman mistakes. Well, they try to force it in there on that second down play. And he doesn't do that. He does a nice job of just lofting that ball out of the end zone, then taking the sack and at least giving his team a chance at 3.
James once again working out of a shotgun. And James, action, he's sacked! A big loss as Rowan continues to flex its defensive muscles, coming from the strong safety spot, Kevin Bellamy.
Yeah, Kevin Bellamy doing a nice job, and they're going to try and blitz James all game and force him into making mistakes. And I think it's a great idea to try and get the young guy rattled. You would expect that from the opposite side as well, to try and put a lot of pressure on Haggerty. They've been able to do that and force him into a couple of sacks. That time, with a big sack now putting them deep into their own territory, is the Lions.
Bellamy is that one player that you really have to watch for this Rowan defense. He's almost like a Troy Polamalu, as they will line him up anywhere and kind of allow him to freelance. So James now will get handed off, and again another loss as Bellamy is just everywhere.
Just freelancing. That's all he's doing, just doing a little freelance. Freelance, free dance. Into the backfield. I mean, this kid has got great speed, great burst off the line of scrimmage. Making 2 plays defensively. I mean, this is where you win games too, Rob, is when you come out defensively, you're able to back a team up. And you got a young quarterback where I'm sure they're going to handle if you're going to get the ball in good field position.
3rd down and 31. Under center now, James, and he'll just try to avoid a safety. He'll push the stack forward and try to create some space for the punter. And again, you sense already that the College of New Jersey somewhat frustrated as Rowan having their way with this Lions team in the trenches.
Yeah, James might have got poked in the face or something. He looked like he was having some problems. Even asked the officials to get involved in there, but we're going to have to see what happened to him. I think he got poked in the eye, but he was upset about something.
Struble again on to punt to Mears and Bellamy. And they've been trying to avoid Kevin Bellamy. And right up the middle now, and a miscommunication will result in an absolutely huge punt.
225-yard punt.
Down at the 28-yard line. 66-yard punt.
It's a boomer. Just miscommunication. That's the thing where, I mean, you got to be upset right now if you're the Rowan coaching staff. That's the kind of mistake that cannot happen. You have a team backed up. Bellamy's playing his tail off, making plays behind the line of scrimmage. You have him backed up, and then you make a mistake. And just communication. I mean, that's all that is communication. And no one pays for it here and forces now Tim Haggerty back into his own territory. When you expected to probably get the ball at least at midfield.
We're at Rowan University, scoreless in the first quarter, 2:08 left. And again, Richardson with so much room to operate, very close to the first down.
How about the job up front right now with Ted Allen, Dan Lee, Brian Kenyon, Anthony O'Hara, Kenneth Ciano. These guys up front, this offensive line is really dominating play right now. That's a senior-laden offensive line. You have 4 seniors in the game tonight playing up front for Rowan. One of the reasons for the success early on, and the reason that Tim Haggerty, a freshman, could do as well as he's done early on.
And again, right up the middle, easily picking up 6 or 7 yards.
Especially on that right side. Yeah, look at Dan Lee and Ted Allen. And they're moving. They're moving people around right now, and that's what you want to see from the right side of that offensive line, all that experience.
Pitch, and Richardson bubbles. A bounce comes right back up to him, and the broken play will result in a big gainer. Richardson down the sideline, finally pushed out of bounds. And the timing of that play thrown off entirely. Richardson allowing himself the opportunity after picking up that big cherry hop and upper body strength, giving Richardson plenty of yardage as he pushed down one line after another.
I think you brought up the good point with him working out in the offseason. This guy gained some weight and gained some muscle, and what he did was he allows himself now to break out of some of those tackles, and you saw there an example of that.
And this time it's down. Downs, maybe 2.
Richardson, 5'10", 176. At a Hackensack, went to Garfield High.
Second down and 8 for Haggerty as we're inside of 1 minute now. Again, working out of the shotgun in this spread offense. Haggerty looks left, he has 2 receivers, and that is batted down. And of course, that's one of the problems that you're going to have with Tim Haggerty.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? That's not always the quarterback's fault, Rob. And we saw that also in the high school game with Deptford and Clearview a couple of weeks ago, where Deptford was having that problem with Clearview shooting up the defensive ends. You got to have that tackle be able to hit him in the ribs and make sure that he doesn't get his hands up and jump like that. And it looks like we're going to get a 5-yard penalty here. Yeah, the misconception on that play is that it's always the quarterback's fault, but really you need the throwing lane to be created by that offensive line.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 68 of the offense. The 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
And again, just as is the case with James, of course he would like to stay out of the long third downs with the freshman Tim Haggerty. There you see it, just 5'7". A true competitor. Of course, he said he was going for a jog today. Ran right past his house, and Haggerty's out front playing wiffle ball with all his buddies. Screen pass, and a little bubble screen with a small pickup. This will bring on the Rowan punting unit.
And that doesn't really hurt them too much. They're able to pick up a couple of first downs. What it does do with the miscommunication on the punt return is where you would have picked up maybe 20 or 30 yards. You're not too sure what had happened. Play calling would have been different. The possibility of at least a field goal try is now negated.
Interesting formation here, and they will line up once again as that will do it for the first quarter. So a little razzle-dazzle in terms of the way they lined up. Merely trying to see how TCNJ would resort to defending that. No harm, no foul, no score. First quarter. We're at Rowan University. Punting it away and finding the end zone to start things in this second quarter. The result in the ball being brought out to the 20-yard line. So Andrew Smith trying to place it inside the 10, but getting little assistance from his special teams unit.
Yeah, so far the special teams unit for Rowan has not been that special. You've had a mistake, miscommunication, a missed field goal. That punt you're trying to kill at least inside the 20, you're not able to do so. Advantage TCNJ with just special teams as of right now.
TCNJ again with that excellent defense, able to hold the bending and not breaking thus far. We start the second quarter with James again out of the shotgun. 2 receivers split on each side. James play action, sets up the screen pass and a lot of room to operate. And Dornacker picks up about 6.
Chris James isn't a redwood, man. This guy's 5'11", 185. He's not very big himself. But you know, one of the things that both coaches like from these quarterbacks is they do make good decisions. They haven't made mistakes that really have hurt them early in the season.
And both quarterbacks very mobile. It's something they like to use, the spread offense, and kind of open up things to allow their quarterbacks to freelance as well. 5 receiver set now for James and the Lions. Empty backfield. 3-step drop. James with a lot of time. Throws across the middle. Tipped up and picked off. Picked off at the 40-yard line. Down to the 30. And a spin move finally brought down to the 15 as Rowan comes up with a key turnover deep inside Lion territory as Mike Barone able to pick it off. You mentioned few mistakes made by this team, but Barone a key turnover here.
Yeah, this ball's going to be tipped. You see it right there off the fingertips of the receiver. Barone, a Hamilton product, 6 foot 175. The sophomore is going to show some good moves downfield. You always think of Hamilton, you think of tough kids, and this kid has played extremely well here in the early season to warrant some time playing, and he's able to take that ball back and put Rowan in a terrific position to score.
First down and 10 now as Haggerty works out of the shotgun. Haggerty rolls right. Haggerty throws underneath. A diving attempt, but that ball's incomplete. Second down and 10 now.
Yeah, ball intended across the middle, and that's what you have a problem of every time you try and go across the middle and you throw into a little bit of traffic is the possibility of that ball being tipped. And that's Barone's 2nd interception of the year. Ahmad Stokes leads the team with 3, including a return for a touchdown. But they like the way the sophomore is played. And again, Hamilton, you're always thinking of tough kids.
Now Richardson in traffic. And that may be Downs, actually. So Downs dropped for a big loss of 5 yards. Rowan headed in the wrong direction here as the TCNJ again illustrating why they have that outstanding defense we mentioned before. They rank first in scoring defense.
Points are not easy to come by against TCNJ.
Haggerty throws it up. Jump ball caught. Touchdown! Rowan strikes first. Tim Haggerty finds Val Terabiz. And Rowan on top 6-0.
Terabiz from the opposite end of the state, Fort Lee, right across the river from New York. Haggerty just throwing the ball up, allowing the receiver to come down with it. Terabiz, 6'1", 198, a very physical receiver.
Extra point is good, and Rowan extends their lead 7-0. 13:02 left in this first half. And Haggerty saw the one-on-one coverage, threw it up, and allowed Terabiz to run under it.
This is reminiscent from what Rowan fans have been accustomed to over the last few years from another Glassboro product, Sakeen Wright, who across the street graduated from Glassboro High like Haggerty, and he would go up and make catches like this where you get that fade route, you just put him up into the end zone and allow your receiver to climb.
Just not real good technique there by Jeff Bauer on defense as he got spun around. Not much of an opportunity to defend that pass. Haggerty to Terabiz. And again, Haggerty, as we've discussed, the Glassboro product, just a freshman, and someone that head coach Jay Corsi very, very excited about.
Terabiz's 11th catch of the season. Came in 10 yards per catch, 100 yards on the year.
Mark Gardner, Dan Dornacker back to receive the kick. Dan Roberts put a foot into it. And this will be taken by Dornacker inside his 10-yard line. Dornacker hit and bounces
What a
backwards.
play. What an unbelievable play that time. By number 32, we'll find him in the roster here. That was Josh Winter of Cinnaminson, 5'10", 200. He takes on two blockers and throws him into Dornacker, and he's able to get him down. What an outstanding athletic play by the Cinnaminson graduate. That's a football player, Robin. You come down, you take on two blockers and make the tackle.
Now James again working out of that empty backfield. This is where they got themselves into trouble. Don't be surprised if you see James run out of this empty backfield set. First and 10. Just past the 20-yard line of the Lions. James rolls, throws underneath, has a man, and that's caught at about the 24. I believe I saw a penalty flag.
One of Haggerty's rivals in their careers, and I mean, these guys really didn't play too much against each other because Eric Bailey's a senior. He's out of Shallock, 6'2", 205, has had a terrific career at Rowan.
Bailey, one of the team captains, a legal procedure call will back up the Lions after that successful completion. And this Rowan defense really led by Bellamy, Bailey, and Tosh.
Keep these guys in. Keep these guys in.
Illegal formation on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
TCNJ started off relatively well their first drive. Since then, they have hit hard times. 12:43 still remaining as Rowan still with a one-touchdown edge. Different look. Two receivers split both right and left for James out of the shotgun. And now setting up the screen underneath, a little bubble screen. And this will pick up about 4 or 5, getting close to the original line of scrimmage.
And nothing there is Chris Nizak, a name that should be familiar to Gloucester County residents. He is a Washington Township graduate, a senior, 6 foot, 225 pounds.
Second down, we'll call it 11. Trips right. Two receivers split left. Again, the empty backfield for James and the Lions. Bailey deep in the secondary. James with time. Now getting flushed out of the pocket, and he will tuck it underneath and run, and a good read and a big open field tackle made by Rowan's number 10. That is David Cafasso, and you can see he read it early as James did not pick up Cafasso, but Cafasso had James' number.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know why this play works for Rowan is Bellamy comes again, and I guarantee you, you saw James rolling away from Bellamy's side, that he affected that play and pulled it down maybe a little bit too early and started moving because he saw Bellamy coming.
Third down, no gain on the play. 11 yards to go. James now setting up the screen. He swings it out, and again, no yards there. So that will force College of New Jersey to punt it away as James hooking up with Lee Jones, but just not much there. Struble will punt it away again, and last time, of course, Mears and Bellamy miscommunicated, and it resulted in a 66-yard gargantuan effort. And again, the low line drive, this time it's going to be Mears taking the line drive as his 48. He'll cut it and go on the opposite side of the field, and you'll see some of the speed of Mears. Now cut it back the other way. Mears has one man to beat, runs him over. Mears still on his feet. Mears now backwards. Mears all the way down to the 4-yard line. Siobhan Mears covered about 100 yards going east and west, and finally heading towards the house.
I think this guy is a great recruit for Jay Accorsi. We saw him at Paulsboro, and he's a football player. I love this kid. I mean, this is what he can do in the open field right here. But he's just an instinctive runner. But he's going to make some moves. Watch him here run over somebody, get turned around. He's going to start running backwards.
You gotta like that.
How many times do you see a guy run backwards trying to get into the end zone? He was moonwalking.
10 yards, penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Well, it is a spot foul, and it occurred inside the 20-yard line. So Rowan will have excellent field position here to try to add to that 7-0 lead. There you see Eric Hamilton and the TCNJ coaching staff. There you see him.
What I liked about Mears, Rob, coming in, what we saw from him is, if you remember with Paulsboro, folks went down for Paulsboro, and the team didn't skip a beat with bringing Mears in to replace Folks, who was really, even during his midget days, Folks was a big name that everyone liked with Paulsboro. Mears kind of flew under the radar, and he had his chance to play and really shown a lot during his junior year. Came in as a senior and blossomed into one of the top backs in South Philly.
Haggerty has it tipped as he faked to Richardson and looked for downs. You know, this is the 49th meeting between these two teams, and the Profs lead the series 31-15-2. Last year, Rowan defeated TCNJ 14-6 up in Ewing, and the Profs have won each of the last 3 meetings, 7 of the last 8, and 10 of the last 12. Again, the handoff to Richardson. Looks like he tried to cut through a seam and ran into his own man.
They got to give credit to the TCNJ defense, Rob. I mean, they've always given Rowan problems, and they're doing so again here. I mean, they have good, strong defensive linemen. The linebackers are fast to the football, and the receivers do an excellent job, especially against Rowan covering the pass.
Haggerty flushed out of the pocket and tripped up back at the 29. And we'll see whether or not, of course, he opts to try another field goal, as this will be about 45 yards or so.
They keep bringing people. One of the things that Haggerty can do is he can get lost in there and come shooting out, and he has terrific speed. You know, he talked about what he's able to do with that option game and give you a chance to also roll out and create a passing opportunity for you, but they're going to go for you.
Haggerty again flushed out of the pocket. Haggerty in defense, and the defense throws Haggerty down all the way back to the 45-yard line. So the decision not to punt results in outstanding field position, as it was a jailbreak for the Lions defense.
He's starting to get a little confused. There's a lot of pressure coming right now from TCNJ, and they're just pressing up on the man coverage. They're bringing the linebackers. They're putting a lot of pressure on Haggerty. It's confusing him. And that time, that's a big mistake by him, because he doesn't get rid of the football, Rob. Really didn't have a whole lot of time. But you got to make quick decisions, and you got to put your quarterback now in those decisions to make quick thinking passes, because what now is going on is they're sending guys up the middle, and they're making those defensive ends come up to negate that slant by trying to tip the ball at the line of scrimmage.
9-10 left, 44-yard line for James and the Lions. Jones and finds a seam for about 6.
Jones is a dangerous runner. He's one of the return men as well, and he gives you that quick burst of speed. And that's a guy you want to make sure you get him before he's able to get you. He'll be able to shoot to the outside, find a little crease, and he will burn the sidelines with terrific speed.
Second down. Call it 5. I formation, first we've seen tonight from the Lions. James will hand it off. Again, it's Jones, and Jones this time with about 3. A penalty flag here as well. We've seen a lot of laundry tonight, Shawn.
Yeah, I think they might have got somebody holding that defensive end. Would have been Holden Hines on that play. I'm going to send it back.
And they will mark off the holding call.
Holding number 67 of the offense. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Robert Key's the guilty party. And now second down and about 13. for the Lions, and that man, Chris James. Rowan showing blitz here. Again, out of the I formation. Handoff. Jones with not much room to operate. Again, another long third down for this Lions offense.
I'm sure Bellamy now will do a little freelancing. Try and put more pressure on James. He's not been able to figure Bellamy or the defense out for Rowan in these third and long. He hasn't had a really good look yet.
Third down and 12. Again, the I formation, two receivers split right. Out of the three receiver set, James flushed out of the pocket. He's getting chased, looking to throw towards the middle, overthrows his man and almost picked off as James had that get away from him, as he did have the receiver underneath, but unable to hook up with Cameron Richardson.
Yeah, and that's a poor effort. Richardson was wide open on the play. If you're able to just pull back and release on that play and not panic as much as he did, you're able to make the play for a first down. Not a nice job by the quarterback there as he had the man open in the middle, a little bit past the middle of the field, certainly within first down to move the chains.
Well, Struble again forced to punt it away. And Mears, who had that spectacular run last time, back with Bellamy. Struble now will try the rugby-style line drive, and Mears will simply allow it to bounce wisely, and that will be down inside the 15-yard line. So a good job there by Struble as the line drive kicked right before Mears, and Mears wisely stayed away.
I doubt they'll try and put it into Mears' hands again. I mean, they kick it once to him. I think they had the right idea in the beginning of the game, kicking it out of bounds. They made the mistake getting it into his hands, allowing him to see the field. He is a terrific return guy, going with a nice unit, getting a couple blocks, and you give him some open daylight, he can move it upfield in a hurry.
Yeah, go Rowan!
Some Rowan fans.
Nice crowd out tonight.
Guys are pumped.
Big rivalry on a beautiful evening. And a penalty flag here. This will come back.
How do you know it'll come back? Maybe it's a face
I've been
mask.
doing those games for a while now.
What if it's a tripping penalty?
I'm willing to wager on this one.
I'm not going to take the odds. Wait, hold on. I'm going with it. Somebody's clapping down on the Rowan sideline. Never mind. They were clapping for something else.
If there's any question about whether there was a wager there, we have it on tape.
Illegal formation on the offense. Only 6 men on the line. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's my favorite sound.
Yeah, little Jimi Hendrix in the house.
I think we did wager on who would buy dinner at halftime.
But not this game.
All right, whatever. Next game, it's fine. But remember, we had it on tape. You won.
And the handoff inside, maybe about 5 or 6.
Still plenty of time with 6:46 remaining.
I'm impressed by the speed and the burst of Richardson. You know, last year he was good. This year he's just in a different gear.
Well, I think one of the things I think you touched on was the fact that he can break a couple tackles now. You know, you have that burst from him, but you know, when you're able to put on some weight, you miss a couple of tackles.
Haggerty throws it up, and this will fall incomplete. Rowan got away with one as the defensive back for the Lions merely bowled over. That was Sullivan Parker who went down, and the receiver, the recipient of that touchdown pass earlier, excuse me, that was actually Mark Lisa who pushed over Sullivan. So again, a long third down. We've seen a lot of these. And this will be shy of the first down.
It looked like you might have had some room if you would have cut it to the outside. He had a receiver blocking down for him. And when you have a guy downfield blocking for you like Siobhan, or excuse me, no, it wasn't Siobhan Mears. I don't know, it was a wide receiver, just take my word for it. Be able to scoot to the outside. And I mean, I always credit running backs for going back to the inside because your natural instinct is to go to the outside. Maybe that time would have better suited him that way.
On his way, again, it's a boomer. And a fair catch called back at the 36-yard line. And again, Zach Rinaldi not pleased with that, but wisely taking it.
He probably could have made one person miss. He would have had some room. He might be asking for his mates to, again, a little bit of communication there. Let them know. Still plenty of time for TCNJ to get on the scoreboard and match the props. One touchdown of the game. See, people are pumped, man. They are pumped. Nice October night.
Again, the I formation. 2 receivers split left. Out of the 3 receiver split. Maybe 1 or 2 there. About 2nd and 9.
One of the things I like that, of course, he's done is really brought in a local flavor to this team. And you have a lot of guys that are coming in, and you've been excited. You look at Haggerty, and that gives a lot of local guys hope to say, listen, I can come in, play some good football. Siobhan Mears, not be the biggest guy, not be the Alex Silvestros or the George Johnson, and still try to further my career. Do it really in front of my home crowd.
James in trouble, throws underneath, and again almost picked off. James seemed very lost on that play as he looked to roll to his left and quickly reverse field. There you see Bailey, we talked about at length. What a performer. We remember him back at Shalleck.
Yeah. Butler Matthews on the team as well.
Pretty good basketball player.
Yeah, both Baileys, and there's been some Baileys that have come through Shalleck that have given a lot of people a lot of problems in the Tri-County Conference Classic Division.
Again, a long 3rd down for James. Out of the eye. The 2 receivers split right. Rowan showing blitz. Here they come, and now again the screen set up underneath. This play is blown up almost immediately, but into the secondary. Still on his feet, finally brought down, and a tremendous individual effort. You mentioned before Jones, a elusive runner. There you saw it, as that looked to be a good 10-yard loss, and Jones able to elude 3 Rowan players.
This is something you don't teach in football. The coach can't really tell a guy how to do that. I mean, that's just being able to use just distinctive running, natural talents, quickness, the speed, the footwork, be able to jump out of trouble and then pick up a first down.
Jones sporting number 5, a la Reggie Bush. That was Bush-like. And again, it's going to be Jones angling towards the sideline. Sizable chunk picked up by the diminutive Jones.
I'm glad for the, you used diminutive, and it wasn't in regards to Tim Haggerty so far. I'm sure Tim and his family appreciates that. You were strong in the diminutive. At least that's an adjective.
Yes.
To describe the height of Timmy Haggerty.
Second down.
Me being a sports editor and all, I know those words like diminutive and fulcrum. Things we've used through the years.
Trotting out fulcrum from 3 years ago that I used. All right.
It's a piece of my vocabulary pretty much on a daily basis.
It's troubling. 3rd down and very short, and there you see Jay Accorsi. Again, Accorsi has done just a magnificent job. And it's just a fantastic guy with the brush. You have really 2 different approaches. Eric Hamilton, not necessarily the most approachable guy, and you have Jay Accorsi, who could not be more accommodating. 3rd down and very short.
It was Rob who said that. I'll agree with you.
High formation. And off tackle, slipping up.
Oh boy, he had the first down, and he might Still have gotten the first down, but boy, he slipped up there.
I believe that was Dornacker.
Yeah, with Coach Keeler going to Delaware, I don't think he could have brought in a better guy or really to replace Keeler, not really bring him in, but to replace Keeler and Jay Accorsi, Rob. Terrific guy, an asset to the community, an asset to the county to bring in some local talent and allow them to continue to play football. The parents, I know, really love to see their kids play football and continue their career and get excited. And you have some of those, and I really think I'm starting to see more local people coming to the games. It's the first down, the slip up is still able to get the first down. I'm seeing some local people really coming in. I said, what's going on? Where you guys going tonight? So I say, I'm going to the Rowan game, or I went to the Rowan game this weekend. And I think that's a credit to Jay Accorsi to not only, he's not bringing in slouches either. You get a guy like Siobhan Mears that can add to your football team, or Tim Haggerty, Nizak over the years, and Bailey Yezi. The list is going on now for Rowan, where you'd see a few guys, that were able to come in, but now they are littered throughout the roster with Gloucester and Salem County and just local guys that are on this team.
James now, Bellamy looking to blow the play up off of the block, and this may be intentional grounding.
There was nobody in that area that I saw. Saying that he's outside the tackle box.
And it will be ruled incomplete. Watch Bellamy's effort here.
They're probably going to say he was out of the tackle box. Yeah, Bellamy is just giving this guy all kinds of problems. No one at home. No one on the block. There was no one around there.
2:50 left, first half. Rowan on top, 7-0. A key NJAC matchup. The Lions looking to defeat Rowan for the first time in 4 years. Jones was stringing outside. Jones angling, but could not cut it back upfield. He had some room as he was being chased. And as a result, he'll pick up maybe 2. Chris Pinto.
Chris Pinto out of Southern Regional, 5'10", 225 pounds.
Which you could say Pinto blew up that play.
Could.
Out of the shotgun, James. Again, little swing pass, some room here, and that will be very close to the first down. And again, good play calling by TCNJ as they are using the Rowan rush to work against itself. As
you got to slow down close somehow. This will do it when you get some screens out there. Get some of the linemen come out and you pick up a couple first downs. It'll slow down Bellamy and company just a tad bit here. Looks like about 2:10 now left here before halftime.
Inside of 2 minutes, and the Lions are wasting a lot of time here. Inside of 2 minutes, they have an opportunity to score, and yet they have been doing nothing but waste time.
I think they still have plenty of time with minute 40 left.
Quarterback sneak.
But the problem is,
well, this is not an offense that's going to pick up large chunks typically, so you're going to need all of that time. Of course, they do have 3 timeouts remaining.
The problem is they're getting the clock down, and Rowan can almost time the snap down when you know it's 2 or 1. You can jump that snap a little bit quicker if you're trying to get a surge. If you have the other team jumping the snap, that really prohibits what you're trying to do. They're in a short yardage situation.
Well, TCNJ, remember, looked to be backed up deep in their own end, but the individual effort of Jones has really spawned an excellent drive. He's been the spark plug for this TCNJ offense, and some good play calling by the TCNJ offensive coordinators as they have really used that aggressiveness of Rowan to their advantage.
You see little Al, right?
It's not Big Al.
Big Al. Just jam into this. Oh, they got a little funk going.
You got the cheerleaders, you got the dancers, you got a big crowd on hand, you've got Big Al.
Look at the dancers, just dancing. It's a party down here. Look at the funky music, White Boy. For the, what is it, the Gap Band? Was that?
No, that was not the Gap Band. It was Wild Cherry.
Oh, Cherry?
Yes.
They should have sued Coca-Cola. Didn't want Coca-Cola have Wild Cherry?
Not at that time.
Somebody should have been sued.
Right. 1:43 left. Timeout now. Rowan took it. Defense. And James will sprint left. James will throw it deep. Downfield has a man wide open, and James missed it by 10 yards.
Somebody missed that assignment there because there was no one behind the receiver there. And James, he looks like a sophomore quarterback. Yeah, he's made a couple of mistakes tonight, and that time that should be 6. That's the type, again, Rob, in these rivalry games, when you have TCNJ and Rowan, you can't make mistakes like that. When you have an open guy, you're going to get 1 or 2 chances like that downfield. You have to convert. How many times has he had that available to him? That's the first time, so you have to be able to hit the man.
2nd down and 10 with 1:36 left in this first half. Play action, James again with a good pocket, throws deep, has a man, and again overthrows Dornacker. Dornacker working against Bailey, the free safety.
EB's not going to let that happen again. I mean, he wasn't on that other side, but he saw what could happen if you break your assignment.
You got to believe this is 4-down territory for the Lions. 3rd and 10. A reminder, Delicio is their kicker. Was the NJAC Special Teams Player of the Week, as Shawn had mentioned earlier. 4 field goals last week to spur on this TCNJ offense in their victory over Montclair State. 2 receivers split left. High formation for James. James, play action. Again, rolls left. Now James in trouble. James showing out elusiveness. Into the open field, James. And he'll be shy of the first down. We're inside of 1:15 now. And a critical 4th down. We'll see whether TCNJ will go for it. He did pick up some yards, and they may be inside of field goal range for Delicio. They may just simply allow the clock to run down here inside of 1 minute and call timeout. That is exactly what they do. 58 seconds left for the Lions, and now we'll see if they bring out the special teams unit.
I mean, he can hit one for. I mean, I think you go for the 3 points here. He has enough of a leg to be able to get it from this distance. You put 3 points on the board. Gain a little momentum as you go into halftime. Of course, you still have a little under a minute to defend. I don't think it's the worst idea to go for 3 here.
Well, Rowan,
that's a nice crowd here tonight.
Fantastic crowd. Rowan ranks 17th nationally, the highest team from the state of New Jersey in the national polls. The College of New Jersey started off their season with a 15-0 blanking versus Muhlenberg College. Promptly swamped FDU Fordham and also defeated 1AA LaSalle University 13-12 in Philadelphia.
You just may want to clarify that because some people may say, where's Rutgers?
Where's Rutgers? In the NJAC?
No, you said they're 17th nationally in the country and a top team out of New Jersey.
Well, as far as Division III is concerned.
There you go, Division III.
I think our fans are much more savvy than that.
Some of them. Yeah, there might be a couple that might say, where's Rutgers or something like that. Might not understand that. Always talk above your audience. It's because you know everything.
Send your letters to Shawn Leary.
Yeah, because I'll take care of you people out there. This guy's not going to read. He'll just throw them in the trash.
Another timeout call here with 58 seconds remaining.
I'm telling you, jamming. Did I say jamming?
Yeah,
look at this.
3 or 4 times.
Look at this. And they don't just mess around. They got the keyboard player there. They got a couple saxophones, trombones. Look at them guys ripping up the trombones right now.
I see how they're sporting their button-down shirts.
Look at you got drums too. You got drums down here. Some dude jamming on the bass.
They have their button-down shirts outside of their pants. And you being a Rowan graduate, now I understand why you came dressed like that to the press box.
Exactly. I want to say I am wearing Rowan colors. I did come and support.
Or else you just got off of work at McDonald's.
Or UPS.
The kick is up, and the kick is low. Hits the crossbar and bounces out. Plenty of foot, just not enough height. So D'Alessio, the Cherokee product, unable to get enough loft.
Look at him, he just didn't get underneath it here. And yeah, this isn't too deep for him. This is a low kick, might even got tipped. But that liner wasn't able to get up over the crossbar there. There you go for the 3 points. I still think it's the right decision. You get 3 points on the board, get a little momentum, get on the scoreboard. But now Rowan with still a chance with 51 seconds. I'm sure they'll probably play tight. They might even just try and run the clock out here.
Looks like they're just going to take a knee here and head to the locker room with a 7-0 edge. Interesting ranking in at the quarterback spot. This will not help Rankin's rushing totals.
No, it's not. If no wonder I'd be ticked. Like, what are you doing?
This is like when you bring in the relief pitcher to issue the intentional walk. And the College of New Jersey won't call timeout, and Rowan content to head to the locker room with a 1-touchdown edge as the clock continues to run out. And you see a look at our fine crowd here at Rowan University. Well, Haggerty hooking up in that second quarter with a pass to his wide receiver. And Val Terabiz, the difference. Rowan on top of TCNJ 7-0. Stick around. Second half action. Right after this, you're watching Channel 5 Sports. Welcome back to Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey. We start the second half with Rowan on top 7-0. Rowan with the edge statistically and on the scoreboard, and we're underway. The squib kick picked up at the 31-yard line, and Rowan will return it to about the 43. Good field position to start. TCNJ with just 28 yards rushing in that first half. Rowan just 51. And Rowan with a small edge in passing yards, 47-37. Perhaps the biggest statistic is the turnovers. And the only turnover resulted in a Rowan interception return for 26 yards and ultimately a Tim Haggerty touchdown pass.
We talked about in the beginning of the game of being able to capitalize in those situations, and Rowan shown on the scoreboard that they indeed capitalized, have the lead entering the second half. Good field position now, and they can really put some pressure on TCNJ in its passing game if they're able to do a lot more of this in the second half.
Well,
see the explosion that time by Downs, Rob.
Downs with 10 yards on that carry. Only 2 yards in the first half by Downs. Not much doing there. Rob Richardson with 80 yards in that first half. A reminder, last week 175 yards. So Richardson continues to put up impressive numbers.
You see Timmy Haggerty, number 17, Glassboro High graduate. Made the most of the situation when called upon to replace Rankin quarterback a couple of weeks ago, and has led the Prospect drops to 3 straight wins, hoping for 4 here tonight, but double 6 comes in. And they've had some plays behind the line of scrimmage. You really have to give a lot of credit to the TCNJ defense here, as they have continuously put pressure on the quarterback, put pressure behind the line of scrimmage on the ball carriers. They're getting a terrific push up front defensively.
Haggerty will take the handoff and keep deep into the secondary. Haggerty all the way down into Lions territory at about the 32-yard line, well past the first down. And just when TCNJ looked like they had him stopped.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like there was a little bit of confusion before the play. They bring the ends up, and he just steps right between them and takes the ball right up the middle. Just looked like it was just inside the tackle for a big gain. That's his first big gainer of the day. And I'll tell you what, we saw Tim Haggerty through his career, Rob, and he had a lot of nice runs. A terrific passer, but also maybe even a better runner. See some Rowan girls having some, wow, I guess the Rowan girls. You would assume they're from Rowan.
Good looking crowd on hand. Again, the carry. Not much there.
Here comes a late flag.
Looks like it may go against Rowan. You know, you kind of get a feel from this game that the score should be much different than 7-0. And TCNJ just one play away from tying this game up.
Yeah, I mean, TCNJ has done a nice job responding with its defense. Not a whole lot to get excited about offensively.
Okay.
This will back them up to the 39-yard line.
Dead ball. Illegal block in the back after the play was completed. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Third down.
Wow. That's a penalty that really hurts because you lose it down there.
It was unnecessary. The play was over and you come and block in front of the play when it's already down. And that's again the mistakes that you make in a game where they can cost you a game. You got a 7-0 lead, you're driving, getting in position at least for a field goal attempt, put you up by 2 scores in a game where you're not going to see a whole lot of scoring. Those are the mistakes in a game like this where you can look at the end of the game and you can say, boy, that right there costs us.
Great atmosphere here at Rowan. I encourage you to come out and take in a Rowan University football game if you have an opportunity. 4th down, and the punt is away. Angling high, and a bounce taken, and down inside the 5-yard line. Nicely done.
That's inside the 1. That is a terrific job. Tiptoeing the goal line there. You see some more Rowan fans. It's all yellow and brown. It is brown, right?
You went to school here. You're not that old.
They changed the name, the colors. What else? The mascot. They got an owl down there now.
They used to have a guy with a prop. They had a professor on there.
No idea. It's wrong. You gotta go into it too much, man. I'm not gonna know the answers.
Stop asking me questions. 1st down and 10. Inside the 5-yard line. 3-man in motion. High formation for James and the Lions. James will simply sneak it and try to push forward, go behind his big center. That, of course, Michael McKean.
Yeah, but you can't really do that with Giannetti. Matt Giannetti has done just a terrific job defensively. I'm sorry, Frank Giannetti. Frank Giannetti from Lake Hiawatha went to Parsippany. Yeah, that's all that you need. You got some Lake Hiawatha.
I was waiting for the big build up there. I got the big Lake Hiawatha.
Well, I thought maybe you'd come with something after Lake Hiawatha.
I was trying to get out of your way.
Well, you should have did that with the comment before with the professor and
with Matt Giannetti.
Just making up names. No one knows. Except the Giannettis.
Third down.
Yeah, it's really Giannetti.
Typically, we're friends and all, so just a little tip here. Don't screw up the nose guard's name. Okay? Just your tip for the day. Huh?
62285. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
All the little things you pick up like you get a little older. Hand off inside, and that will be close to a first down, but maybe shy.
Yeah, I think he's just shy of it. Yeah, it's going to bring up fourth down. This is a guy you can't move, though, Giannetti. So I'm telling you.
This is where you make amends.
No, I've been waiting to talk about the guy the whole night, because first off, he's from Lake Hiawatha. And
why do you keep blinking at me?
I have something in my eye. Does it matter?
Struble will punt it away.
Look at the fog on the field.
That explains
This is getting close.
That explains the mix-up in names. It's the fog.
It's coming up into the booth.
Struble again with that rugby-style punt will angle towards the sideline, and a great roll as this will find its way inside the 45-yard line of Rowan. So taking advantage of this Rowan turf, another fine punt by Struble. He will add to his punting average, as Struble coming into the game has done a nice job throughout the year. 33rd in the nation with a 39.5 punting average. As we mentioned earlier, the first half he had a 66-yard punt.
And let's just clarify that. That's not fog on the field. It's, I believe what is called condensation.
Struble with 39.4 average in the first half.
Maybe it's not even the compensation. I told you I didn't like science.
Haggerty eluding tackle after tackle, and he'll finally be brought down. Very close to a face mask penalty there, but a pickup of about 2. And again, you see that nice crowd on hand.
Kids are having fun here at Rowan. 2 of them are not paying attention at all to the game. Looks like they're either reading
or texting each other to watch the game on Channel 5.
Did you see that play? Yes, I did.
3 receivers set, and the handoff inside. Not much doing there.
And I can't say enough about some of those guys up front. They've done a very nice job tonight. Ted Allen, Gloucester Catholic product out of Gloucester, 6'4", 255, the right tackle.
Across the middle, and caught. And that'll be enough for the first down. Actually out to the flank, and he finds his big target.
With the blue TCNJ shirt on. She's not paying attention to the game either. She's having a good time on the drums. Yeah, he got slammed at the turf.
Billy McGill on the reception, 1st and 10. And again, Haggerty will keep, and he's slung down to the ground after a pickup of a couple.
You need a 1 yard on the play, you bring up 7 second yards.
Give him 1, 2nd down and 9 for Haggerty. Out of the shotgun, and now a penalty once again.
It seems like both teams, they take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. They just had the 1 touchdown tonight.
Prior to snap, false start, number 68 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Yeah, it's a good point, Sean. Each team has really struggled to get into any kind of rhythm.
And credit the defenses as well. I mean, there's been a lot of times where they just would bring the heat And both young quarterbacks have struggled in that area.
Second down and 14. Haggerty out of the shotgun, has it tipped, it's up in the air, free ball, and it's picked off. TCNJ comes down with the tipped ball, and they'll have excellent field position. They'll start out at the Rowan 47.
And Al, this is the time I'm going to agree with you. I mean, this is where the size does hurt him a little bit. That is straight up the middle. And that's nothing on the outside where you have to hit into the ribs of the tackle. Even though, I mean, you had the chance there to get the block more toward the line, but a little bit of a push from, again, that blitz really affecting Rowan's offensive line and Tim Haggerty.
First and 10. Bellamy is on the sidelines for Rowan. Handoff right up the gut and met immediately.
Look at the strength from Andrew Yezi. I've loved this kid ever since he stepped foot on the field for Delsey. He is a tough kid, sophomore, 6'1", 230. The former Crusader, a tackling machine when he was at Delsey. He'd rack up like 15 tackles a game in high school, and that's pretty much unheard of. And offenses would just try and gear up the game plan to stay away from him. Difficult to do all over the field.
Second and 10, two receivers split left, and James play action, getting some pressure. James throws it into the flat and overthrows his target.
You can see the pressure has really affected James, Rob. I mean, he has not had too many good-looking passes. He hasn't said once that, boy, that was a good-looking pass from this kid. And you got to feel bad for him because he is really struggling with that pass rush. Now, both these teams haven't seen the type of defense so far that they're looking at tonight. These defenses have been in their faces and really struggled with it.
Bellamy out on the field now, so interestingly, Bellamy out for the first two plays of this drive. Third down and 10, two receivers split left. And now they show the blitz. James, play action. Again, setting up that screen pass, a lot of room. And cut down at the 44-yard line.
There's Bellamy again.
Lee Jones trying to create something, but tackled from behind, and Bellamy will go back to receive the punt. Fourth down, back 6 at the 44-yard line of Rowan. Struble again, back to punt this time. It's just Bellamy, and they may try to put some pressure on Struble. And angled towards the sideline. Struble will watch it roll into the end zone, so net of about 24 yards as the ball finds its way in the end zone.
I strongly believe, Rob, is, Jay, of course, you don't want to play too conservatively, but you just want to put yourself in a position where you don't make a mistake. Now, I really believe if they don't make a mistake here tonight, they're going to win this game. And that 7-0 score is going to hold up. The TCNJ offense has shown no sign of life. They've had a couple of screens work, but that's been pretty much it.
They'll hand it off. And again, this TCNJ defense has really stepped it up in the second half.
Rowan seemed to really have an advantage in the trenches early on in the first half. And the offensive line was getting a terrific push. Where they struggled basically is dropping back in that pass blocking. You're having a lot of guys come in. Look again, TCNJ with 4 or 5 guys at the line of scrimmage.
Haggerty breaking tackles and finally slung down. That'll bring up about 3rd and 4.
Let's take a revisit. Let's rewind for a second. Look at the position that Rowan is right now. They're deep in their own territory. This was all set up with a bad after the play blocking the back. And I know you don't want your players to dial it down and don't be aggressive, but that penalty really hurt them. The field position really turned, and now Rowan deep in its territory in third down.
And the handoff, absolutely no room, will result in a Rowan punt. So Struble and Smith have been quite busy this evening for the respective teams. And again, they will rely on the right leg of Andrew Smith. Smith 39-yard average in that first half. Put it away, and it's another boomer. Taken and fumbled. Still on the ground and finally recovered by the Lions. Well, you mentioned mitigating mistakes, and that would have been a big one. Lions get a fortuitous roll and fall on it.
It looked like Jones may have popped his head up there and was looking upfield maybe to try and run with it before he corralled it. And that always ends up in a bad situation if you're not looking for that football. I mean, there's a lot of times where you see guys make that mistake and it's costly. This time, TCNJ was a little lucky with a couple of guys hustling back to make sure that they're able to pounce on that loose ball.
3 receivers set, 2 split right for James out of the I formation. James will hand it off. And now Jones into the secondary, making tackler after tackler miss. Still on his feet, finally slung down.
This is the one guy that can make a play for you. I mean, he will make guys miss, and he's the guy you have to make sure that you finish the play off on, because you think somebody might have it, he'll slip out of a tackle and he could go. And this is the home run hitter that you'd like to have in your backfield when you're trying to get a big one.
That was the longest carry of the day for Jones in the Lions I formation. 2 receivers set, 1st and 10. The Lions with some life on their own 48-yard line. James will hand it off and trying to cut it back and falling down and slipping. We saw that shot earlier from our director, Stan Ritter, where the condensation was beginning to build, and there is in the what will result. Trying to stop on a dime, Jones slips, and that results in a loss.
You don't want to have the building condensation. Not good for anybody.
Not good for the Lions. A long second down for James. This is where they found themselves in some trouble. Again, out of the I formation. James will play action again, will roll with some time, and now kind of freelancing, dumps it, and pickup of maybe 3 or 4. It was a play that looked basically like something you drop out on the schoolyard. I'll run in this direction and I'll see what happens. He dumps it, and not a bad play when you put it in the hands of Lee Jones.
And again, you try to get him in the open field. He's your safety valve there where you try to get him the ball. If all the other looks, all the other reads, everything's covered downfield, you go to the safety valve in Jones. He's not a bad safety valve. Again, a guy who can break a couple of tackles and make a couple of people miss.
3rd and 12 for James. James now with time, throws underneath, has a man, and that's a 1st down.
That's the first time we've really seen some poor coverage downfield for Rowan. Playing off the guy a little bit too far, you expect to see him coming off the sticks.
This was one of the better throws from James as well.
And they might want to try and do this more and rolling him out. And they move the pocket, allow him to get some time downfield where they can buy some time.
They have rolled out James quite a bit this evening, but typically he's been rolling to his the opposite of his throwing hand, to his left side, and that makes it difficult to get anything on that throw. And James, frankly, doesn't have the arm strength.
And the defensive ends have done a nice job, and also sending Bellamy up top is really giving him a hard time to get to the outside to be able to make the completion.
See a fashion statement there.
That's Ted Allen. That's the Gloucester Catholic kid we were talking about. 6'4".
That's what they do to you, Gloucester Catholic, if you don't go to class. Maybe not. Second down.
Cruel.
What's that? Play action. James with a lot of time once again. James looking. Tucks, and he's hit. Yezi again lays out the lick. May have been Cafasso.
Whoever it was, it didn't feel good for James.
No.
52 seconds left here in the third quarter. Pretty swift moving third quarter. Not a whole lot done for each team, but it seems like TCNJ, if you had to put somebody to quit, condemns thus far.
James again, deep drop, throws, and has a man for the first down.
He's getting a little bit of protection right now, and he's stepping up and throwing the ball much better than he did in the first half.
TCNJ continues to move the sticks as Chris Updike, the tight end, on the reception at the 30-yard line. TCNJ moving this football with just 25 seconds remaining in this third quarter.
Updike out of Hunterdon Central. Central. A 6'4" target, a big target for James.
Right up the gut. And again, a nice pickup for Dornacker. About 5 yards. That should be the last play of this third quarter, and it is. They'll switch sides with TCNJ on a roll, moving the football. We head to break with Rowan on top by 7. Welcome back to Rowan University, and the first play of the fourth quarter, James just missing Updike. Updike unable to hold on, and it's always interesting here, Shawn, because we sit right next to the coordinators for the opposing team. Last year against Hobart, we learned a few new words in our vocabulary. And
I knew all the words.
Yes, I guess you did. And this year, TCNJ doing some remodeling next to it.
If I thought he was going to be sitting in your lap. I thought he was coming through the wall, upset with me. I mean, that was really the best look of the night. Just missed it.
James in trouble, and they'll just fling it, but I think they'll rule him down.
I think she caught it. The pass was intended for her, maybe.
A loss on the play, and that'll be back to about the original line of scrimmage. So you got to believe 4-down territory here, but no, they're going to bring out the special teams units, it looks like.
Well, they're down by a touchdown. They figure if we can pin Rowan back, we played well defensively. We won the battle of field possession here in the second half. Now they're spotting up for a field goal. Never mind.
D'Alessio will attempt a 47-yard field goal. His last attempt hit the crossbar. So the 47-yard attempt from D'Alessio. The kick is up, and the kick is no good.
Just wide right, it looked like.
Plenty of leg.
D'Alessio's got a lot of boot in him now. I mean, that was a hefty field goal, and he had plenty of distance on that. Just looked like he pushed it right. Now he's missed one left. He's missed one right. I'm sorry, he hit the crossbar.
14:36 left in this football game. Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary on the campus of Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey. NJAC matchup, two rivals, Rowan and TCNJ, each undefeated thus far in the NJAC. First down carry, maybe 2.
Here comes Richardson. Looks like they're going to go back with him. They like to rotate the backs and keep them fresh. but I mean, it looked like Richardson was the hot hand early on, Rob. He had a couple of nice runs. The offense is kind of bogged down a little bit, and that's no fault to the other running backs. It's just the holes have not been there, frankly, for Rome. But let's just see if they open up a little bit something here.
Haggerty on the fake. He'll cut it inside, put his head down, and pick up 2 more. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and 6. And Rowan has not had any success in this second half.
Yeah, I think Haggerty's got to move it up a little bit quicker. That time he's looking for room, seeing where he's going to run with the football. And, you know, you're able to do that in high school, and that's something as a freshman he's going to learn, is that, you know, sometimes you have to be able to just try and use your speed. And he has terrific speed to get to the edge and get a couple more extra yards. You're not always going to be able to set up your blocks and get that big run.
Fake to Richardson. Haggerty dancing towards the 40, and he'll have enough for the 1st down. As Haggerty finds the seam, and he's still being pushed forward. Still no whistle. Wow. It's like a huge amoeba just going down the field.
Amoeba? Never mind. Let me just stay away from that one. You keep on talking about this kid's size. You know, I got Giannetti, and I understand he's what, 5 foot, 6'2", 285. The little Timmy Haggerty, he's going to have enough of your comments of his size.
I don't think that was a reference to Haggerty.
It wasn't.
No, the pile there looked like an amoeba. Okay. And a fumbled snap. Haggerty wisely falls on it. And as you mentioned before, it seems that each team takes 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
Yep, man, it keeps on happening. I mean, it's just over and over again. These guys have made mistakes somewhere along the line during long drives that is prohibited from them from getting a 1st down, even if they've moved the chains a couple of times. And this is a consistent theme for this football game. Again, I think it's a team. Whoever makes the least mistakes in the second half, we got just a quarter left in this game.
Trips left, and Haggerty will keep once again, and he's slung down. Not surprised there, Shawn. Of course, he opts to play it conservatively. Don't want to give up good field position. Your defense has played very well. Keep it on the ground here, which I'm thinking will probably happen on 3rd down as well, and allow Smith to punt it away.
The clock is still your ally. With the lead, it's still your ally. You want to make sure that you just don't make any more mistakes, and who knows, maybe you get Richardson to break on. But I wouldn't make any rash decisions with the football.
Again, a handoff, and that'll bring up 4th down as Rowan unable to get back to the original line of scrimmage. They'll punt it away from their 43-yard line. Smith will punt it, and it's so tough to pick up the numbers on TCNJ. I believe that's Jones.
That's Jones out there. And you want to try to angle the ball away from Jones. Again, I mean, he's an explosive return man.
And it's actually Rinaldi back, and Rinaldi takes it and then takes a licking. Rinaldi hit immediately, and Rowan pitting TCNJ back at their own 17-yard line.
Yeah, Rinaldi here looks like he might have been thinking about waving for the fair catch. Didn't. He gets hammered by Elijah Bynum of Pemberton. Defensive back who gets a little bit of time on special teams, just a sophomore, a very young team. We've been calling out a lot of sophomores and juniors, a couple of seniors up on that line.
Bellamy back in on defense, plays the outlaw position, which means basically a little bit of everywhere. Handoff, and Dornacker gets outside. He'll pick up about 10 or 11.
Yeah, that was a nice run by Dornacker, and he's going to make a decision after bouncing into his, look like his tight end there, that he's going to just get to the outside and pick up what he can. And nice decision by the back to do a little bit of damage that time for TCNJ, and they're going to measure for the 1st down.
10:53 left. Again, you see some of the crowd here on hand.
having a blast.
Well, I know that these fans anxious for some offensive output from this Rowan University team. TCNJ is playing tight. Remember, TCNJ not really expected to do a whole lot this year, and they have played well, coming off a victory against Montclair State, and really starting to fire on all pistons. See the schedule of the TCNJ Lions. After this, they're going to go to William Patterson, and then things get appreciably tougher.
There you go, Western Connecticut right into that game. Western Connecticut was the team that Rowan beat up last week, 40-18. Only loss for Rowan was the opening game against Christopher Newport, and that was a 23-17 loss.
Second and short for James. And a handoff, more than enough for the first down, as Jones will pick up about 3. William Patterson was picked to finish last in the NJAC this year. So
who's picking these things? The coaches, right?
That's the coaches. First and 10 for the Lions with 10:25 left. James with time. He's had a lot of time. Throws into the flat, and a pickup of about 6 as James continues to throw underneath. And the Lions offense has looked appreciably better.
It's almost a different team out there in the second half, and James has looked so much better in this half, and he's getting a little bit of time to be able to step up and make throws. And Bellamy, to be quite honest, they have not put as much pressure with Bellamy. It seems like every time he's able to get inside, they have had a lot of success, and I'm kind of surprised that Rowan doesn't continuously go to it.
James again with a lot of time, has a man thrown in and out of the hands.
That's just terrific defense at time.
Ahmad Stokes defending on the play as James trying to hook up with the deep ball. They continued to pound it underneath, and then James trying to find Colin Weber.
And he had him for a second, but Stokes is able to get back and break up the play. Stokes with 3 interceptions leads the team out of Jackson. Jackson Memorial High School is a school I believe a lot of people are familiar with around here. They have a pretty good wrestling program.
Third down, a key third down for these Lions with 9:29 left. James working out of the shotgun, trips left. James now setting up the screen pass. Boom! A big hit laid out as Lee Jones trying to get the license plate number of that truck named Kevin Taylor.
Taylor out of Westwood Regional, 210 pounds, is going to give a lick to Jones after he's able to get football into his clutches. Now it's 4th and 10.
When you're
nice job by Taylor of sniffing out that screen.
Those are the type of plays that Kevin Taylor and defenders in general dream about. Jones defenseless out of the screen. Struble again with the rugby-style low-line drive punt, and nicely fielded by Mears. Mears will return it with some room down the sideline. Mears dancing, stood up at the 40, driven forward at about the 37. Excellent field position for the Rowan Profs, and now a little bit of a fight ensues down on the sideline.
They see the schedule losing to Christopher Newport in the first game of the year, 23-17, but bounce back with a win against Wilkes. Widener with a big win against Widener University, and Western Connecticut went to their house and dished out some punishment there.
I'll tell you what Jay Accorsi and the Rowan Profs are most excited about when looking at that schedule. The Buffalo State game is home. That's a long bus ride.
It's a trip. It is indeed a trip, but Mears does a nice job, Rob, not so much even for the run, but being able to haul that ball in, because if it would have got behind him.
Haggerty throws it deep. trying to find a man who had gotten away from the defense.
Again, we're talking about field position in this game, Rob, and Mears not catching that ball and letting it bounce. It's going to go way back in Rowan territory and really could determine some, the part of this outcome. If you're able to get that ball, move it upfield, just a terrific job by Mears.
So Haggerty trying to go deep to grab, finds incomplete, and now the handoff. The seam allowing for maybe 3 or 4, and again a long third down here. And we'll see if Accorsi and the Profs stay conservative, keep it on the ground, and we'll try to pin back this Lions team or maybe attempt a very long field goal to make it a 2-score game as we approach the 8-minute mark remaining now in the 4th quarter. 3 receivers set, 2 split right. Play action, Haggerty across the middle, throws it up, jump ball, and that's picked off. A poor decision there by Haggerty, and now a big return all the way down the sideline on the 20. And going towards the house at the 10, the 5, touchdown. A big interception return for the Lions after an ill-advised pass. And now the Lions just an extra point away from tying this thing up.
Rob, I was just getting ready to say after that play, it's almost like a heavyweight fight where you see one guy's got a little bit of an advantage, and the guy in the corner saying, listen, just make sure you keep your hands up. You won the fight. Just don't let your guard down to get that one punch. Let him get that one punch in and get him back into the fight. That's almost what's going on here. I mean, you had a lead here of 7-0 with 7:33. Really, TCNJ with no signs of life offensively. Maybe a couple of nice plays, but not able to sustain the drive. You make a mistake and let them get back into the game. That's the only way I believe TCNJ would have got back in and tied this game. I think you let the guard down, you got clocked by TCNJ here in the late rounds of a fight. I mean, that's exactly what this has been like. This is that heavyweight punchers fight, and here comes a blow right here from TCNJ. And coming back, look at the guy with the crutches running down the field. Maybe he can play next week if he's running on crutches. Nice job returning it. And it's so important to get into the end zone because, you get cut down by the 4 or 5. Look at the interception there, the return by Mears. Terrific return earlier in the game that Rowan was not able to capitalize. Important for him to not only get the interception, but also score. And I really believe a huge mistake that time for Rowan. And Haggerty getting the interception, and again, letting the guard down because TCNJ showed no signs of being able to put together a full drive to tie the game up.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that they went to the air because, again, an opportunity for you to maybe pick up a few yards, get yourself in a field goal position if that's how you want to play it, or at the very least, a 4-down territory or a punt to pin them back. But nonetheless.
And so much, and you know what I don't like about that call is you're going, again, to the middle of the field. You go into the middle of the field, a lot of things can happen where you can create a turnover, and that's really where you see a lot of interceptions that are, again, returned. You can pick a side of the field where you can try to return it. You set up the wall there, and it's just a bad break for Rowan there to give up the touchdown late in this game, and a huge break for TCNJ.
Well, you got a sense that Rowan was kind of content with that 7-point lead, and now they're in a street fight, tied at 7. A dribbler, and this squib kick fielded at the 25-yard line. And Rowan with not much of a return as they bring it back to their 34-yard line. So 7:25 left in the 4th quarter. Still a lot of football to play.
What it says, in essence, is really now you have to make plays offensively. You were still forced in TCNJ to make plays to only tie the game up. Maybe they would have gone for a 2-point conversion if they're able to get the tying score. They didn't here in this point. So, I mean, again, I would have just put the defense back on the field if need be and try and move that clock down. Now Haggerty forced to try and orchestrate a drive to win the game. Well, I've seen a lot from this kid over the years. I wouldn't put it past him to be able to do just that.
Richardson on the handoff, and they'll pick up about 3 or 4 You get a sense this is an important drive. Rowan needs to at least establish a first down and try to suck away some of the momentum that TCNJ has taken after that return. Conversely, if you're TCNJ, a stop here and you have nothing but confidence. Swing pass, and that is knocked down. And they will rule that a forward pass.
Yep. Blocked down by, looked like blitzing linebacker on that play. I don't know, maybe that's your defensive end for TCNJ. Huge mistake for Rowan. Now you got a 3rd and long situation for Haggerty.
Trips left, 4 receivers set for the Profs. Haggerty will hand it off to Richardson, and he'll pick up a couple. This will force a punt, and TCNJ is held. Well, this Rowan offense has been lethargic in the second half. TCNJ's offense has been appreciably better, although generating no points. 7 points, of course, coming off that Larkin interception return. Smith now will punt it away to Rinaldi. High kick, Rinaldi back to his 20. Misses, 2 misses, and Rinaldi down at the 22. Matt Bailey on the tackle for the Profs. 6:03 left, and TCNJ would love nothing more than a long, protracted drive here to eat some clock. We'll take a look, the game of the week. Gloucester Catholic Rams at the Deptford Spartans. That'll be on Saturday the 13th and Thursday the 18th here on Channel 5.
It's going to be a good one. Saw the Deptford and Delsey game last week. We had that on Channel 5, a terrific finish. Not so much for the Spartans. They were really upset about losing that game, but they had won the game or were in perfect position to win it. There was tremendous controversy that ensued with the points being taken off the board. We expect Deptford to rebound this week and then come back and give Gloucester Catholic a good game.
Second down. Call it 4 yards to go. And this Rowan defense also not as aggressive as they were in that first half. Bellamy has been relatively quiet. Out of the shotgun, it's James. And we have some movement from the Lions.
Yep.
It looked like it was the wideout, Colin Weber. 83.
Prior to snap, false start. Number 83 of the offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Still 5:18 left. That'll back up the Lions, 5 yards. Second and a short 9. James out of the shotgun. 4 receivers set. James, play action, now getting flushed out of the pocket of dumps. And a lot of room here. A great block out front across the 50-yard line. Nothing but running room for the TCNJ Lions deep into Rowan territory at the 31-yard line. Some exceptional blocking, and Dornacker really with a big pickup.
Yeah, this has really hurt Rowan throughout the game. As this screen, you're going to see some outstanding blocks by TCNJ downfield. There's one that took out 2 Rowan Profs there, and you're going to see one coming back right here. It sets up a couple of extra yards, and we've seen some good blocking over the years, but that is some outstanding blocking downfield by TCNJ, and a big play has put them in position now to try and win this game with 4:34, still plenty of time on the clock.
Out of the eye, James.
That's a play.
And he's pounded.
He expected Jones there to take the handoff, and he's going to go to him. Somebody made a mistake. That's, again, 2 steps and then 5 steps backward. Again, you can't make these type of mistakes against good defenses. You make these types of mistakes, your chances of scoring are diminishing down into the single digits.
3 receivers set, 2 receivers split right. I formation for James, 2nd and 13. James again will roll right. James with a lot of protection throws it up and just overthrows his receiver in double coverage. A good throw by James. James has improved as the game has progressed, and that'll bring up a long 3rd down as Cameron Richardson, the intended receiver.
Out of Burlington Township, who's looking for him downfield. He's the one that threw one of the blocks for TCNJ on the long screen for Dornock. But this is we've seen a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence from the quarterback.
3rd down. Again, a 3 receiver set. I formation for James. James fakes the handoff. Pressure here. Looking for the screen underneath. Has it across the middle. And a pickup of 1 or 2. That's a dangerous throw. But he did thread the needle.
I'll see if they bring out D'Alessio here. We've seen that he has the leg to be able to get it from this distance. But does he have the accuracy? He's missed 2. 3:15 and counting. They'll probably call timeout. Get some time to come down. Good decision. And then make the call whether they go for it. I doubt that they would punt, or maybe they do punt, or they have the ability maybe to send D'Alessio out and try the long field goal.
Timeout called by TCNJ. 2:53 left in this football game. Tied at 7 here at Glassboro Rowan University. Every Wednesday, it's the High School Sports Report. John Mondelli, Scott Chapelier, and your very own Sean P. Leary here on Channel 5 Wednesdays, 7:30 and 10 o'clock. Don't miss it.
Dancing going on down there. They got the cheerleading team and they got the dance team.
But I tell you what, there's going to be some serious dancing in Ewing if TCNJ can pull off the upset. Critical 4th down and decision time again. Do you go for it on 4th down? Do you try the right leg of D'Alessio because your defense has played so well? Or do you pin them back?
I think
and it looks like they're going to take Struble and try to pin the Profs deep in their own end. Probably a wise decision as the Rowan offense has shown nothing.
There's a lot of confusion right now for TCNJ.
And now they're going to burn a timeout. I think that's a poor decision. Because if you don't burn the timeout, you only lose 5 yards. If you're Struble, you're more than capable of coffin corner kicking this. A bad timeout used up there by the TCNJ football team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You lose the...
There's still confusion out there. Yeah. Struble punted away, and this ball will bounce inside the 10-yard line. So nicely done by Struble and the Lions. Down at the 8. 2:46 left, 4th quarter. A low-scoring affair. Not a surprise as TCNJ comes into this game first in scoring defense in the NJAC, yielding just 10.8 points per game. second in scoring defense, Rowan.
Yeah, these teams know each other extremely well. Again, a rivalry game between the two of them.
Young quarterbacks. Right up the gut. As the clock continues to move, and we may be headed towards overtime. But of course, it's only if Rowan can pick up a first down. Out of the shotgun. 3 receivers. Again, the handoff. And it's a fumble. It's down. And TCNJ has the football.
Wow.
The Lions have recovered the football.
Wow.
In excellent field position at the 12. A big mistake. We mentioned before that mistakes would be even larger in this game given the fact that we have 2 young quarterbacks. And now TCNJ knocking on the door.
That is, I mean, that's just a crushing blow to Rowan after you start off with Haggerty 3-0. And now they're in position to lose this game after holding the lead 7-0 after the 3 quarters of play. You make the one mistake with the interception and another mistake made deep in your own territory, not holding and securing the football. And now TCNJ with a golden opportunity to win this game. And they have played as the aggressor here in the second half. I really believe that they have been more aggressive defensively. And that is really... you can tell this is a rivalry game, right?
Yeah.
When you get rivalry games only have cheerleaders injured on the sidelines. That's when you know it's a big time game. Things are happening.
It's an all-out brawl. Well, Rowan, with their backs to the wall, and they burnt a timeout there. So TCNJ with an opportunity to really eat up some clock and allow D'Alessio, the NJAC Special Teams Player of the Week, to kick a field goal at the very least. James now out of the shotgun. 4 receivers set for the Lions. And the inside handoff, about 5 or 6 yards on that carry by Dornacker.
We'll try and take that 25-second clock down as far as it possibly can go.
Inside the 10 now for the Lions. James again will work out of the 4 receiver set. In motion. Little end around. And falling down on the turf after a pickup of about 2.
But he had a touchdown. If he holds that there, he's in for a touchdown. And you're right, Rob. That turf is a little slick, a little wet. It's humid out here. And it's about 80. What they said it was about 87 degrees today.
Rowan will call timeout. This turf, the slickness of the turf has really benefited these profs as 2 plays went for naught as a result of it.
The time they were going to get chased Zira into the end zone. He's at a Homedale. Young running back for TCNJ. And he would have been in the end zone, Robert. He was able to hold that cut as he had some open space again. The wide receivers for TCNJ have done a nice job blocking when called upon. I mean, they haven't had too many plays downfield, to be quite honest. There haven't been those type of plays that have opened up for the Lions. But here's the spot here with a minute 16. You're probably just going to put your kicker in a good position.
You don't be surprised if they run the ball and they run it towards the middle of the field.
You have to know that as well. So
receivers in the formation. James out of the shotgun. And a handoff inside. This will be close to the first down.
Yeah, it will. So go out of the first down.
And we're going to have a measurement.
A minute left here. If they do have the first down, Rob, they do have the first down. We'll be more than happy to go for the touchdown as opposed to the field goal, especially with the slick ball.
And he's got it. First down. Get a great look there by half a football. That's a critical third down play, and this Rowan defense is starting to sag.
Yeah, but they can't. You know, you really have to dig in here and really think about it. I mean, this is a situation where you got a slick ball, a slick turf. You have to make sure that the kicker has got a good plant to get that kick off. So don't think, well, we got a little chip shot here. I mean, what more can we do?
So the Lions will come from the sidelines. And the clock did not move initially. So
that's a break for Rowan.
James on the sneak.
Clock's still moving with 34 seconds left and counting.
So TCNJ will continue to have this clock run down as they do not need to get another play off. They can call a timeout with just a couple seconds left. 16 seconds on the play clock and just 12 in the football game. James hands off and now a procedure penalty.
They might have called timeout. I mean, they let that play go. I wasn't too. If they get tackled there, there's a chance of. They don't get the play off.
Timeout, New Jersey. Second charge of the second half.
That was way too close. I think it was way too close. Almost a huge mistake by Hamilton to let that play go on. I mean, if they snap the ball, there's a chance the game is run out there. I think that was way too close for Hamilton to try and get the timeout.
They're fortunate that coaches can call timeout.
Yeah,
because if he does not get the first down, this game goes to overtime. That
he doesn't get the touchdown.
Colossal mistake, as you mentioned. So D'Alessio, the NJAC Special Teams Player of the Week, vaulting TCNJ last week over Montclair State, trying to double up. It's at the right hash mark.
Well, I haven't called the play. You just wait till 3 seconds, you call your timeout, and get the guys on the field.
As a right-footed kicker, I think that this is a little bit of an easier kick versus the left hash mark. So here it is. 8 seconds left. D'Alessio lines up.
Jay Quist is going to call a timeout for Rowan to try and ice the kicker.
Well, we've seen this in the NFL the last few weeks. And we also saw Florida-Auburn where they iced the kicker. The Auburn kicker made about a 45-yarder and then did it again. There'll be a lot of disappointed fans here from Rowan. There's a great crowd on hand.
Yeah, it's just, you got to feel bad for Tim Haggerty and Rowan. They felt like they had this game. They had 4 possible straight wins. Walking out of here with a win. I mean, I really believe that TCNJ would have had a hard time moving the ball downfield if you just played smart football made the right decisions and kept them going through a long field. There was no indication that TCNJ was going to be able to move the football. Did you get that sense?
Well, it's always easy to say, I guess. But, yeah, I was a little surprised that they did put the ball in the field.
At least in the middle of the field. Yeah, you can't just run the football out. I mean, you got to try and continue to move the football. But anyway.
D'Alessio on to attempt the field goal. The kick is up, and it is blocked, but continues through the uprights. Off of the hands of a Rowan player.
Still 5 seconds left in the game, so they're going to have the kickoff. But this would be a huge upset for TCNJ if you believe the preseason rankings of them being ranked 7th over the first seeded. On Rowan's turf.
An amazing turn of events here at Rowan, and the kick from D'Alessio looked like it deflected off of a Rowan player, and the trajectory instantly increased through the uprights. And now you see some of the Rowan faithful filing out.
Take a look, see if it looked like they had a hand on it, might have got through. Yeah, it was a low kick. Not a good kick at all from D'Alessio, especially from that angle. You're able to get up underneath that plenty to give it enough. There's no reason to kick it low for any reason to get some more distance on there. Really a poor kick by D'Alessio, but just gets the, as you would say, fortuitous bounce.
I wasn't even sure. That may have gone off of one of his own players.
Yeah, it was an extremely poor kick. But D'Alessio, the special teams player of the week, comes up smelling like roses.
Well, 5 seconds left. We'll see another squib kick from D'Alessio. And that will likely be the last of it here from Rowan University. You'll see that TCNJ sideline erupt when this game is over. And a squibber picked at the 21-yard line. And now a little razzle-dazzle. Siobhan Mears. Mears trying to create some space. Mears now reversing his field. He'll throw it to the other end. And there's a lot of room there.
He's able to break one man.
And now it is lateral back. Again, still lateral. The play that will not end. And finally, TCNJ comes away with the victory. And as I mentioned, a huge win for this Lions program. A couple of key mistakes from the Rowan Profs result in a TCNJ 10-7 victory. Well, Shawn, Rowan had the game in hand, and in the fourth quarter, with it on the line, a couple of key errors result in their second loss of the season.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back and say, we can say, oh, well, the interception, but also there's a fumble deep in their territory. So not always going through the air is the only way you can make a mistake. With a slippery ball, the ball gets shot out of there for Rowan. Just some bad bounces and some bad breaks in the second half that went away from Rowan. But you got to give a lot of credit, I believe, to the TCNJ defense. Although the offense looked really bad at times, the defense really kept them in the game. They did a nice job of corralling Haggerty. The running game looked good early on from Rowan, but TCNJ made some adjustments, and they end up winning the game here in what is really a terrific win for the program. And this is one where you look back and you say, again, I know they come in at 3-1, 3-1. You expect a close game when these two teams get together. We've done a couple of TCNJ Rowan matchups, and this one again doesn't disappoint.
Well, Rowan will likely fall out of the national rankings coming into the game, ranked 17th. TCNJ will improve to 2-0 in the NJAC and have a very, very jubilant bus ride home. About an hour ride up the turnpike or up 295 to Ewing. Well, thank you for joining us tonight from Glassboro, New Jersey on the campus of Rowan University. For my partner, Shawn Leary, my director, Stan Ritter, and all the crew, I'm Rob Christ. Once again, your final score, it was the College of New Jersey victorious in a thriller over Rowan 10-7. Good night, everybody.